Hey, so this is a Sports Tourism Discussion 2. Glad for you to join us again. I'm Isaac.
Bennett.
Kelsey. Just to start off, for different definitions of destination, because the fourth week when we talked about, fourth or fifth week we talked about destination, had different definitions, and the first one can be a service sought by a visitor. Second one involves a number of different organizations and or people working together to support visitors. So for an example, there could be like the Super Bowl, you have different security, different people to help with halftime show, concession stand workers, ticketing people, and so forth. Third definition, history, people, traditions, and way of life. Fourth is concept or concepts among the minds of visitors. And the fifth, it's not always a specific place, but more of a concept that includes multiple destinations and locations.
All right, next is travel experience, this is building off of the previous slide of destination, and I mainly like the definition of it being a concept. So with this, there are 7 phases for travel experience. First, there is accumulation of mental images. So if you are the person who is trying to go visit a place, say you want to go visit Florida, so you have your accumulation of mental images. You've seen pictures of Florida, you've seen images, you've seen media, news broadcasts, the beach, all that stuff. All that cluster and everything is your accumulation of mental images. Second is the modification of images by further information. So you're going to want to go to Florida, and off of the images you already have in your head, you want to do some research and really figure out where in Florida you want to go. And by doing so, you're modifying your images. 3 is the decision to take a vacation or trip. So once your modification of your images has convinced you that, heck yeah, Florida's an awesome place, you're going to go to Florida. So now that we're going to Florida, we're in the plane, that's number 4. We're traveling there. That's awesome. Now quickly moving to 5, our participation at the destination. So you're in Florida, we're checking places out, you're having a good time. Again, quickly moving to 6. Then you return home, and you had a great time in Florida, you had tons of fun, you saw friends, you did things and saw things that you didn't see on pictures and blah blah blah. So 7, very important, is the modification of images based on the vacation experience. So now that you went to Florida and you're back, and you think back on everything that happened there, the bad and good experiences. So it could be you went to the beach and you stepped on a starfish and you stabbed your foot. Maybe you don't like Florida as much anymore. Thus, you modified your destination image in a negative way, but also for a positive example, say you learned how to surf, and now you want to go to Florida 4 times a year. Okay, moving on to some key points of destination images. Sport can have a positive or negative impact on the perception of destination image. Decision on where to go is based on destination image or travel experiences, like we said in the previous slide. Perception that tourists has of a destination can come from stereotypes. So the stereotypes could be from a long time ago and passed on from generations and so forth. So an example is Detroit. The stereotype is that the city is a dirty, run-down place and has a lot of party schools. Okay, and then now there are 2 different agents with destination images. There's both induced and organic. Both of these images are formed. So travel plus tourism company use marketing promotions for a specific way that people perceive the destination. So, touching on induced first, this is more of how advertisements and pictures paint the place where you want to go. So, induced agent would be that you see a picture of a family having a fun time in Florida on a beach. So obviously you're going to think that was a fun time. Okay? Induced is everything that they give you to think about. Like they force your thinking to already be in that way. Organic is the exact opposite. It's what the marketer cannot control. It includes perceptions of the media. So if you see a news come on and say like some tragic accident happened, then your feelings towards that destination image are not going to be the same. So crime, violence, and the economy can all go towards organic agents, including stakeholders and marketers can't do much for the organic because they're the ones who are putting the induced out in the world, but they can enhance and improve the perceptions within the induced agents.
The key operations in destination marketing, first, accessing the current markets and future ones, and then auditing, forecasting the destination, and analyzing its appeal to the markets. Developing strategic objectives, so that would play into the marketing mix, implementing the objectives, and then lastly carrying them out and evaluating the results.
This slide touches on the sporting events affecting destination images, economic impact. The economic impact of an event can alter the destination images before, during, and after. For a good example is the Rio Olympics, which goes hand in hand with the revenue leakage. Revenue leakage is tourist revenue going into multinational companies opposed to locals. So for example, Brazil hired a bunch of companies outside of the country of Brazil. So they had companies work the Olympics. So of course that affected the revenue coming into Rio de Janeiro and the Olympics because they were hiring from other companies. So the other companies outside the country, that's where the revenue went to. This also goes hand in hand with developmental costs of the local government. Tons of money would be little to no return. For pretty much just like what I said, that all the revenue pretty much goes back to the companies that the country of Brazil, the Rio de Janeiro Olympics, hired to come in and work the Olympics. So the next slide touches on the leveraging tourist examples in sports. So like bidding, for example, for the Olympics. LA just recently won the bid for Olympics. The reason why they won it, they acquired new stadiums and new revenues. Instead of just using the USC facilities, they created their own stadiums they had built, and also they developed better, easier transportation to have the Olympics, and that's why they recently won the bid. Also, I remember when the bid for the Super Bowl 52 came up, and the Vikings built a brand new stadium, and the front office won that with the U.S. Bank. That was the biggest reason why they won the Olympics. Also, was hosting Super Bowl 52 committee, mentioned about the skiing and different attractions we have going on in Minnesota and Minneapolis, especially with the new train and transit department we have going on as well. That can help out with transportation as well. A different example could be the college football playoff bidding that they have going on right now, and especially the Final Four, March Madness. That comes in big as well.
So just a few notes from the journal article, a comparison of sport and non-sport tourist perceptions. A few notes: sport events play an important role in leveraging tourism for the host destination. And the journal article discussed 3 distinct topics. So the study's theoretical framework, which is the structure that can hold or support a theory of a research study, and the research methods and the analysis results discussed. It also touched base on the psychological continuum model, or the PCM, which that type of framework suggests that individuals will continue to form an attitude towards a destination during the travel experience based on a positive or negative evaluation. So for me, an example, I was fortunate enough to go to the Super Bowl 50 where the Denver Broncos played the Carolina Panthers, and it was in Santa Clara, California, and it was sunny and 75. That the weather played like a really good part into it. I would rather be in sun than in snow weather. Another thing was I got to see Coldplay play at halftime, and Beyonce and Bruno Mars played at halftime, and those are 3 of my favorite musical artists. And then also just kind of see how everything worked. They had tanks and army people lined up everywhere. Security was top notch. You know, you had to make sure that you had a clear NFL bag if you brought in anything. If you had a jacket, you had to take it off. They had to go through everything just to the best that they could. So that was just one experience for me. I would definitely go back to Santa Clara just because the weather was so great and the people there were really friendly too. And then some more notes: sport and non-sport tourists, perceived destination image, experience evaluation, and revisit intention. The framework has been used to specifically examine the area of sport tourism, and the psychological continuum model advances that the individual object connection develops progressively through a series of inputs, processes, and outputs that operate within the hierarchical stages of awareness, attraction, attachment, and allegiance. And then continuing on there, inputs can be external environmental determinants, and internal determinants, which is personal or psychological, can influence the evaluation of stimuli. Outputs are related to the degree of attitude formation, which would be your beliefs and feelings, and that can change toward a tourism destination. Just like for me, when I thought of California, I was thinking like, wow, that's a lot of people, a lot of traffic. I've heard that the people there can be more rude, but that definitely changed when I went to the Super Bowl. It wasn't actually that much traffic. People were friendly. Another note: attraction process is of particular relevance for the current empirical investigation. Individuals have already made the decision to travel either for sport tourism or non-sport tourism reasons. And the travel signifies the attraction process based on that person's realization that a destination or sport event provides the opportunity to satisfy their needs and benefits. So one question is, what are types of needs and benefits provided from a sport event or non-sport event opportunity? I guess for me, I also have been to a few Denver Broncos games, and one thing I've noticed is a benefit when I go to those games is they always give you something free, like a souvenir to take home. So one time it was a towel that you could hold up when the Broncos got a touchdown. Or I guess the most recent one I went to, we got a pair of sunglasses because it was probably 80-degree weather out there. So it's just those types of little benefits. Also having certain foods or adult beverages at the games too. Like, it's nice to just relax and kind of, it's an escape from reality. So that's another opportunity. Just touching base on a few other things: the push-pull notion, pull motives initiate travel and participation decisions, and push motives can direct the destination selection and evaluation. Another question are what examples of travel experience that are positive and negative associated with travel destination for a sport tourism event. I kind of touched base on that, the positive of going to Santa Clara and the effect that I have on that place now.
So the first question was, what cities or institutions do to change their image? What do you need to do to change their image perception, such as Penn State, Baylor, or cities like Detroit or Boston? Ben, how do you feel like about that?
You using the example kind of like that we have the Super Bowl bid now. I feel like cities can take their image in a positive way, and they can only, if they focus on only building on it and being hospitable to the people who are going to be outside of Minnesota, like really cater to them, then that's like a huge way that you're going to make the perception go up for the image. Second question is, should cities focus on finding new strategies for improving their destination image, or simply fix on the factors that are decreasing their image?
I think first they should fix their images first, to try to branch on that, fix their problems that they have going on in there. Their institutions, such as Penn State with Sandusky and Baylor, just that rate with the football players, just fixing the image first and then starting to brand out.
And then third, would it be better to have local companies be in charge of infrastructure and development instead of corporations and multinational companies when preparing for a sporting event?
I feel like majority of people are going to want to say to do local companies, but not all local companies are going to have the means and the workforce in order to be able to do that. So in situations, you're going to have to hire an outside place.